Good morning. We will start our meeting out with roll call.
Supervisor Connell.
Present.
Supervisor Christie.
Here.
Supervisor Hines.
Present.
Supervisor Scott. Chair Allen.
Here. From the library. From the library.
We are I'm lucky really to work at the library. It is a place that people, when they need help, they know where they have to go. We help, it doesn't matter background, age, color, anything. We are ready to help any people. If you need help with books or information, it doesn't matter. For anything. If we don't know, we will ask. If we know, of course, we will answer. So please, if you need help or you know somebody need help, just say, there is a place called library, just go stop by, they will help you. Thank you very much. And today I use this occasion, if you don't mind, I brought something, and I make a card, handmade card, for the Board of Supervisors. Thank you to give me this chance. And this is the card, and thank you very much. This is a great opportunity for me, and it's enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chair Allen. For the record, Supervisor Scott has joined today's meeting.
Good morning. Good morning. I was also going to comment, and that is why they've made action figures out of librarians. Now I'd like to call up Matt Lutheran to read the land acknowledgement statement. Matt is a project manager, landscape architecture, and the Regional Flood Control District.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Pima County residents, we honor the tribal nations who have served as caretakers of this land from time immemorial and respectfully acknowledge the ancestral homelands of the Tohono O'odham Nation and the multi-millennial presence of the Pascua Yaqui tribe within Pima County. Consistent with Pima County's commitment to diversity and inclusion, we strive toward building equal partner relationships with Arizona's tribal nations.
Thank you. Any updates from flood control you want to share?
Yes, I would like to talk a little bit about our Stormwater Parks program. The strength of that program has really come from our partnerships that we've developed with other municipalities. So City of Tucson's Storm to Shade program has really helped us expand and steward these stormwater parks. And I'm excited to share that we're expanding on those partnerships. We are working with the Tohono O'odham Nation on the Walk Community Park. It's the first community park on the San Javier District, and we've just completed phase 1. So that is the flood controls contribution to the project. And we will be staying on to assist with project management of phase 2, which will be the additional park amenities that were matched from our initial funds for a $1.5 million grant from Arizona State Parks. And additionally, we are beginning work with the Pascua Yaqui tribe on the Black Wash Stormwater Park, and that design is currently under development. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we will move to pause for pause.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, board. This well-behaved little boy is Buddy, and my shirt is covered in hair. I'm sorry, because he does not like to walk. He likes to be held. So, yeah, if you're looking for a lap buddy, this is Buddy. And he is one of 40 dogs that we have recently taken in from a hoarding case, thanks to our ARC facility that we have recently been able to utilize for our hoarding cases. But now they're available to adopt. They're all, there's some spicy chihuahuas, like, normal. But then there's a good amount of them that are just really little calm buddies who just want to sit down and be in your lap. The only other thing I would like to mention is that we do have the parade coming up this weekend. So we'll be there. I don't know if he will, but maybe. But there will be available pets to adopt at the parade. So we hope to see you guys. It's free to watch. So just come watch.
Can you tell us where the parade
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry.
time it
Yes.
starts? And
Yeah, it is. I just assume everyone knows everything because they just keep up with PAC stuff. So it's downtown, historic 4th Avenue. It starts at 10 a.m., so it's nice in the morning. So if you have kids, perfect. It ends right before nap time. Ready? We are ready to have all those folks out there. Yeah, there's a lot of fun festivities that are free to enjoy, and some things you can enjoy with a little bit extra money, like some food and vendors and things like that. But a lot of dog-themed fun happening this weekend. So thanks. Say bye, buddy.
I'm looking forward to being at the parade, and my dog will not attend. He's grounded. The next item on our agenda is current events and public acknowledgments. Supervisor Scott?
Thank you, Chair Allen, and apologies for my lateness this morning. Wanted to acknowledge Principal Chris Lambert and his staff, especially his counseling staff at Catalina Foothills High School. They had their annual Falcon Connections event yesterday, and they had dozens of area employers and other people come in and talk to students about potential careers. And I was proud to be one of the people invited to talk with students about what they might consider after high school. Also am grateful to the leadership at La Cima Middle School, and where I visited last Monday to talk to students about local government and the roles that it plays in their lives, and Richardson Elementary, where I was pleased to read to students in the first grade, and didn't talk to them so much about local government, but did enjoy reading to them about a cat who held a pizza party where all the events started with P, all the ingredients started with P. And then wanted to thank my colleague from District 5, Supervisor Cano, because both my wife and I, at his invitation, joined him and a couple of his staff members at Blenman Elementary for Stories That Soar, which is a program that is sponsored by Literacy Connects, which does so much good throughout our community to promote literacy, especially in the early grades. So thank you, Supervisor. That was a wonderful event.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Along with job descriptions and future, I just want to announce a great program that was out at Micah Mountain High School. Recently, I should say, more than 100 students in the welding program at Micah Mountain filled their campus shop this week with sparks flying as they demonstrated skills and explored career opportunities in Southern Arizona's growing trade sector, as the school hosted the Western Welding Academy as part of its Blue Collar Tour. It's basically a somewhat of a traveling roadshow aimed at promoting hands-on careers to high school students. And the director of the Blue Collar Tour said that Micah Mountain stands out. Micah Mountain is a place we've been a couple of times before. They have a really strong welding program, and they put a lot of support and effort into the trades. And most importantly, pretty typically in our area here, a student can go out, get their first job at $24 to $28 an hour. So it's a very successful program, and I say congratulations to Micah Mountain for hosting it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Supervisor Cano?
Thank you, Chair Allen, and good morning, everyone. I was about to also thank my colleague from District 1 for accepting my invitation to come to Blenman Elementary. The Stories That Soar program has been near and dear to the District 5 office for many years now. It's a program where we encourage students in elementary schools to write about anything they want. They can also submit poems, pictures, videography to what's called the Magic Box. And the Magic Box comes back to the school with a professional troupe of actors who put on a 60-minute show. And the kids don't find out until the show is happening if their stories have been selected, usually about 20 stories, and we had a lot of fun at Blenman. But this is a program that's at over 13 schools in Southern Arizona, And I encourage all of you to learn more about them at literacyconnects.org. Stories That Soar will be at the Tucson Festival of Books, which is coming up and is in District 5. Saturday, March 14th at noon, they will have a special performance at the children's stage. And the most exciting part is always around May for the Best of Stories That Soar show, where all of those stories are chosen from the variety of the 13 schools, and you've got a really professional production in a beautiful theater. That's May 17th at the Maroney Theater at 3 o'clock. So thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit more about one of my favorite programs in Southern Arizona.
Supervisor Hines.
Thank you. And I've been inspired since we're all doing this. I have been down about a staff member and a half for a number of months because Miranda Schuper poached my staffer. But no, I love Ward 6, and I'm so glad Kylie is doing well over there. So I'm pleased to announce the hiring of 2 new staff for my district and welcome Luis Encinas as well as Kristen Randall a little bit later this month.
And I want to note that this Saturday, March 7th, is the annual Amato Chili Cook-Off. This is a fundraiser for the Amato Youth Center. It'll be at the Amato Territory and runs from 9 to 1, I believe. But go early. The first couple times that I went, they were out of chili by noon, and I was out of luck. So definitely go early. We have 2 office hour events coming up in the next couple of weeks. So we will be in Sahuarita holding office hours on March 10th from 10 to 1 at the Sahuarita Food Bank. And then we also have our office hours in Pitcher Rocks on March 18th from 4:30 to 7:30 at the Pitcher Rocks Community Center. Now we will move to the clerk for agenda adjustments.
On the regular agenda, page 3, item 13, under County Attorney. This is a hearing code text amendment, ordinance number 2026-2. This item will be heard at a time certain of 10:45. On page 4, item 16, under Board of Supervisors, review of Community Foundation of Southern Arizona report. This item will be heard at a time certain of 3 p.m. On page 5, item 22, under Community and Workforce Development, Regional Housing Strategy and Funding Plan. Staff requests this item be heard at a time certain of 3:30 p.m. On the addendum agenda, page 1, item 3, under Board of Supervisors, William Shaw Wildlife Corridor. This is resolution number 2026-12. This item will be heard at a time certain of 10 a.m. And page 1, item 4, the 2026 Regional Transportation Authority Special Election. This item will be heard at a time certain of 10:15 a.m. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have a number of proclamations this morning, so we are going to dig into them. So this is agenda item number 7. It is a presentation of proclamation to Alexa Castillo, winner, Yvette Valerio, and Kylie Meza, runners-up, recognizing and commending Take Action Against Graffiti Program Poster Contest winners. I'll move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Supervisor Cano is ready to present.
Welcome to your Board of Supervisors hearing room. If you can just join me right here. I'm going to make my comments brief because we've got a lot of proclamations, so I'm going to go right into it. Congratulations, we're really excited for you. Whereas graffiti is a crime and is the unauthorized placement of words, initials, slogans, or drawings which are spray painted, sketched, or marked on a wall, buildings, and other surfaces visible to the public. And whereas graffiti hurts all of us, our homes, businesses, and schools, the people who see it, and the people who do it. And whereas the Pima County Department of Transportation's Taking Action Against Graffiti program, otherwise known as TAG, was created in 2006 to prevent and control the spread of graffiti. And whereas TAG has handled more than 8,000 calls for graffiti cleanup and abated more than 8.1 million square feet of graffiti the last 17 years. Whereas young people can be powerful allies in the fight against graffiti in their schools and neighborhoods, and whereas TAG launched its anti-graffiti poster contest in 2015, inviting young people ages 9 through 18 to submit artwork with an anti-graffiti message, and whereas TAG received exceptional artwork from 70 young people, and a round of public judging selected a winner whose artwork will be used on the TAG anti-graffiti poster, and 2 runners-up. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors recognizes and commends the runners-up: Yvette Valerio, 11, a student at Mission Manor Elementary; Kaylee Mesa, a student at Apollo Middle School; and the winner, Alexa, a student at Los Niños Elementary School, for their willingness to assist the county's efforts to prevent and control the spread of graffiti, and for using their creative talents to help deliver an anti-graffiti message to all Pima County residents and visitors. And I'm very proud that they're all District 5 students, passed and adopted this 3rd day of March 2026. Let's give it up for our students.
So agenda item number 8 is a presentation of a proclamation to Dr. Andrew Saul and Crystal Rumbaud, proclaiming the day of Wednesday, March 18th to be Health Workforce Wellbeing Day in Pima County. I move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Supervisor Hines is ready to present.
Perfect. Good to have you all here. All right. So, whereas the well-being of our healthcare workforce is critical to ensuring access to high quality and to sustain Pima County's health systems, and whereas in the United States, up to 54% of physicians, 68% of nurses, 75% of pharmacists, and 60% of medical students and residents have symptoms of burnout, high emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and low sense of personal accomplishment at work, and whereas Pima County is experiencing severe workforce shortages of physicians, nurses, advanced practice providers, behavioral health providers, public health professionals, and other health workers. And whereas Pima County is experiencing, whereas according to an Arizona Board of Regents analysis, the state needs an additional 14,291 registered nurses, 3,644 physicians, and almost 2,500 behavioral health workers, among others, by 2030 to fill its health worker shortage. Whereas the National Academy of Medicine has proclaimed March 18th as National Health Workforce Wellbeing Day to recognize the importance of protecting healthcare workers' well-being to sustain our health system and ensure quality patient care. And whereas the Wellbeing Collaborative of Arizona, of which Pima County is a member, is committed to institutionalizing well-being as an organizational value and a key strategy for building and maintaining a vibrant healthcare workforce. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims Wednesday, March 18th, 2026 to be Health Workforce Wellbeing Day in Pima County, and urges all Pima County officials, community leaders, health organizations, and citizens to commit to the well-being of all Pima County's healthcare professionals. Passed and adopted this 3rd day of March 2026. Yay. And just one quick other thing, I recently learned about a nurse in our community who was released from her job due to trying to organize at her hospital. And that is something that we can't have. We don't have enough nurses, we don't have enough doctors, and when people are stepping forward to make their workplace safer and to make the workplace safer for patients, we can't fire them. So I just want to shout out for Dominique Hamilton. Thank you. All right. And Dr. Saul?
I'll be brief. Good morning, and thank you very much, Dr. Hines. My name's Andrew Saul. I am proud to serve you as a family physician here in Pima County and also work as the Assistant Medical Director at the Pima County Health Department Clinics. I'm gathered today with Justin Tucson, Mary Stebbins, and the extraordinary Crystal Rambeau, three of the extraordinary RNs who help run the clinics for the Pima County Health Department. We want to thank the Board of Supervisors for this proclamation on healthcare workforce well-being on behalf of the tens of thousands of Pima County's physicians, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, nurses, medical assistants, every type of counselor imaginable, therapists of every type, clinical disease investigators, and the dozens of other people, other types of allied health professionals who help keep the system running. Being in healthcare is not easy. For some of us, it's a chronic daily stress, and sometimes people yell at you, and sometimes it's not as safe as we want it to be. Yet sometimes it can be miraculous. We are blessed to be present at the dawn of life as well as at the sunset. But all too often, we are also at the bedside when death comes unexpectedly or traumatically. And working in healthcare is a daily reminder that we are all fully human. So burnout is real. But I challenge everyone here to think about that word. Burnout implies someone isn't strong enough. It implies that someone couldn't hack it. If a person can't cope with the stress, and it's because you don't have the right stuff. And as you know, we can't show weakness. We're doctors, we're nurses, we're counselors. So healthcare workers are mission-driven people, and we will do just about anything to help that person right in front of us right then. And all too often we run into the barriers of the healthcare system. Imagine, how do you care for a child with asthma who keeps coming back to the emergency room because their parents are uninsured and can't afford their inhalers? How do you help someone who is slowly losing their eyesight because they can't get to their doctor because it takes 2 buses and a full day off work? And how do you spend weeks pushing for a prior authorization to get an MRI to have somebody on the phone tell you that's not medically indicated? It's not burnout. I didn't say that. It's not burnout that these people are feeling. It's actually moral injury from advocating for another human being, only to slam headfirst into that healthcare system itself. So moral injury is the frustration of trying to do the right thing and hitting the wall and failing again and again and again. So there's a great saying in economic development: a healthy economy needs a healthy workforce. Right? A healthy economy, you need a healthy workforce. And as a former business manager, I believe that. No one has time or resources to train and retrain staff who keep getting sick and injured from a preventable cause. I believe the same thing can be true about our healthcare system itself. It's the system that's the problem, not the people. We can't train or recruit people fast enough to replace those who are flaming out. It turns out the problem is not the people. We need to do a better job recognizing those elements of the healthcare system that erode the dignity and the sanity of the professionals working there. Today's proclamation is a reminder and a clarion call that we need to take care of the people working within the healthcare system if we're ever going to make any difference at all. So thank you, Dr. Hines. Thank you, members of the Board of Supervisors, for helping illuminate the needs of these human beings that make up our regional healthcare system. We appreciate your leadership, and we embrace the challenge of helping make Pima County a healthier place to call home for all of us. Thank you.
Next up is agenda item number 9, presentation of a proclamation to Larry Fisher and friends of the Empire Ranch Foundation, celebrating the first 150 years of the historic Empire Ranch. I move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0, and Supervisor Christie is ready to go.
Who shall hold this? This is a great personal honor. I've spent a lot of time down in the Empire Ranch area, in the beautiful area of Elgin and just north of the Santa Cruz County line. It's absolutely stunning, and I hope everybody has a chance to go down and visit that historic place, and it's a real honor for me to present this proclamation to all of you. Whereas the Empire Ranch, established in 1876 in the high grasslands of southeastern Arizona, stands as one of the most enduring symbols of Arizona's ranching heritage and the American West. And whereas for 150 years, the Empire Ranch has played a vital role in the agricultural, economic, and cultural development of the region, contributing to the rich history of cattle ranching and land stewardship, all in Pima County and the Santa Cruz counties as well. And whereas Empire Ranch, listed on the National Register of Historic Places and situated on the Bureau of Land Management's Las Ciénegas National Conservation Area, preserves the stories of families, ranchers, cowboys, and diverse communities whose labor and dedication shape the legacy of this remarkable landscape. And whereas the rolling grasslands, historic buildings, and working rangelands of the Empire Ranch represent a living testament to resilience, innovation, and responsible stewardship of Arizona's natural resources. And whereas through ongoing preservation, education, and community engagement, the Empire Ranch Foundation, working with the Bureau of Land Management and other local organizations, continues to inspire present and future generations to appreciate the heritage, culture, and enduring spirit of the American Southwest. And whereas, as we commemorate this 150th anniversary, we honor not only the ranch's distinguished past, but also the Empire Ranch Foundation's mission to preserve its historic structures, protect its working landscape, and promote understanding of ranching traditions and Western history for generations to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby celebrates the first 150 years of the historic Empire Ranch and calls upon all residents and visitors to join in celebrating its historic and cultural significance during events at the ranch throughout 2026. Congratulations.
Supervisor Christie and the board, thank you very much on behalf of the members of the Empire Ranches. We appreciate the support. These people worked very hard to preserve an important piece of Arizona history and a lot of culture down there. So thank you.
So for agenda item number 10 is a presentation of proclamation to Reverend Dr. Jonathan Zenz and Karen Ives proclaiming the day of Tucson, March 3rd, 2026 to be Unity of Tucson Day in Pima County. I move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 5-0. Supervisor Scott, would you like to present?
Yes, ma'am. Whereas Unity of Tucson has served the Tucson community since 1956 as a welcoming and inclusive spiritual home focused on personal growth, compassion, and positive living. And whereas for 70 years, Unity of Tucson has offered spiritual education, prayer, service, and community connection that uplifts individuals and strengthens Pima County. And whereas the ministry has demonstrated steadfast commitment to unity, diversity, and social responsibility by fostering cooperation, interfaith dialogue, and service to those in need in Pima County. And whereas Unity of Tucson continues to inspire people of all backgrounds to live with purpose, kindness, and a deep sense of connection to one another. And whereas this 70th anniversary marks not only a milestone of longevity, but also a celebration of enduring vision, devoted leadership, and generations of members and friends who have sustained and grown this spiritual community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors proclaims Saturday, March 14, 2026, to be Unity of Tucson Day in Pima County, and recognizes and celebrates Unity of Tucson on the occasion of its 70th anniversary and for its long-standing service and commitment to unity, diversity, inclusivity, and social responsibility throughout Pima County. Congratulations.
Thank you. There's something that we always share with people that we meet for the first time in our community, and I would like to share it with you and with the entire board. You are magnificent. Thank you. Thank you for this honor.
As are you.
Okay, remember, we're magnificent. That's going to get us through a very long day.
We are going to now move to addendum item number 1. It is a presentation of a proclamation to Elizabeth Pocock proclaiming the week of March 24th through March 29th, 2026 to be TenWest Week in Pima County. I move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes 4-0. Supervisor Cano is ready to present.
I'm so grateful for Startup Tucson. You have a long track record of supporting entrepreneurs and small businesses throughout Pima County, and I love that your event is usually in District 5. So let's go into the proclamation. Whereas Pima County recognizes Startup Tucson as a leader in the innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem, supporting 3,000 entrepreneurs a year as they launch and grow their businesses in Pima County, resulting in an impact to the Southern Arizona economy since 2012 of nearly 1,200 new jobs and more than $290 million in funding for small businesses and startups. Whereas Pima County and Tucson has a thriving innovation ecosystem with partners including the University of Arizona Center for Innovation, Community Investment Corporation, Pima County Office of Economic Development, City of Tucson Economic Initiatives, Groundswell, Arizona Commerce Authority, Brown Foundations, Southern Arizona Leadership Council, Local First Arizona, Visit Tucson, Town of Oro Valley, Downtown Tucson Partnership, Arizona Tech Council, Tech Launch Arizona, Arizona Arts Live, and others. And whereas TenWest, founded in 2015 by Startup Tucson, is now the largest entrepreneurship and creativity festival in the Southwest, drawing thousands of local and regional attendees to downtown Tucson. And whereas fueled by the financial platform Hustle, this week-long festival supports Southern Arizona's innovation ecosystem by convening a powerful network of regional founders, small businesses, and academic leaders to an event that fosters meaningful local connections and actionable strategies necessary to drive growth within our communities. And whereas this unique blend of professional development and community celebration ensures that TenWest participants gain the insights and regional partnerships needed to make a lasting impact across the Southwest, now therefore be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims the week of March 24th through March 29th, 2026 to be TenWest Week in Pima County, passed and adopted this third day of March 2026. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Supervisors, Board of Supervisors. We are so excited to bring TenWest back to Tucson at the end of March. This is our 11th year. Joining me here today, we have Hustle and Vantage West. They're our title sponsor this year. They're the reason that we can bring TenWest back to downtown. We also have to thank Heath and the County of Pima County Economic Development Department. We also have Arizona Arts Live and Arizona Arts as a partner. Our board is here, represented by Christy Street of SALC. My team members are here, as well as our partners and UACI, who's helping us with idea funding. And just a few other little notes. We are excited. It's a 3-day conference. If you've never attended, we welcome you to join us. We bring in speakers from across the country. This year we'll have 60 plus presentations, over 100 speakers. Headlining the conference is Jason Pfeiffer, the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine. And one example of all the amazing things that happened during TenWest is a very unique collaboration that we're excited about this year that's actually happening at our office space, which we are lucky to be in. It is a Pima County Facilities building at Roy Place. Startup Tucson has called that place home for the last 5 years. This year, as part of the festival, we're bringing a Teen Odyssey in partnership with Chad's team at Arizona Arts Live and Arizona Arts. And it's an immersive tech and arts experience, bilingual and multicultural, and we invite all of you to attend one of the 6 performances that will happen during the week. So thank you all for your support of TenWest.
Thank you. We are now going to move to addendum item number 2. It's a presentation of a proclamation to Bruce Collins, Director of Pima County Procurement Department, proclaiming the month of March 2026 to be Procurement Month and the day of Wednesday, March 11th to be Procurement Professionals Day. I move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 4-0. Supervisor Scott, would you like to present?
Thank you, Chair. Remember I said earlier in the meeting that I read a book to first graders about pizza where all the ingredients started with P. That's going to help me to read this resolution. Whereas the public procurement profession plays a significant role in the efficiency and effectiveness of both government and business, And whereas in addition to the purchase of goods and services, procurement professionals add value to their organizations by performing such functions as executing and implementing contracts, developing strategic procurement strategies, and cultivating working relationships with suppliers and other departments within their organizations. And whereas public procurement professionals in Pima County and in other public and private organizations have tremendous influence on economic conditions in the United States, with cumulative purchasing power running into the billions of dollars. And whereas our procurement professionals in Pima County are committed to providing high-caliber strategic, logistical, and operational support for all departments within Pima County, and whereas the Pima County Procurement Department professionals recognize, support, and practice the public procurement values and guiding principles of accountability, ethics, impartiality, professionalism, service, and transparency established by NIGP, the Institute for Public Procurement, as fundamental tenets of the public procurement profession. And whereas NIGP has proclaimed the month of March as Procurement Month to further expand awareness of the procurement professionals' role to government officials, the general public, business, and corporate leaders. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Pima County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims the month of March 2026 to be Procurement Month, and the day of March 11th, 2026 to be Procurement Professionals Day in our community, and urges all residents to recognize the role of the procurement professionals within business and government. Congratulations to everybody on our procurement team.
I want to maintain the theme that I heard this morning from the board, which was thankfulness and gratitude. So first, I want to thank the Deputy County Administrator Holmes, Deputy County Administrator Mr. Carmine, and the County Administrator, Ms. Lesher, for your trust. I also want to thank the board for your trust and confidence in the dedicated procurement professionals for this team. Not only trusting us, but holding us accountable to make sure that we operate in a professional manner, open, competitive, and respectful to the business community. I want to thank the business community for trusting us. But I want to personally thank this board, Ms. Lesher, Mr. Holmes, for the opportunity to work with this team of dedicated professionals. So I just want to thank my team and ask that the entire community thank the team also.
Thank you, sir. Can you hand that to me? All right. There's Jerry waving at us for our picture. Jerry, you need to, anybody to move down? Or? All right. Which I think you like each other.
Still early morning.
The second row.
Thank you all. All right, we are going to move on to call to the public. Before I read the rules and regulations, I will flag that we have a couple of time certains, one at 10 and one at 10:15. So there will be there will be an interruption in call to the public to go through those. So first for the rules. These are the call to the public guidelines for the Board of Supervisors rules and regulations revised December 2020. Citizens attending the meeting shall observe rules of propriety, decorum, and good conduct. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or who becomes boisterous while addressing the board may be removed by the sergeant at arms if directed by the chair. Such person may be barred from further audience before the board. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistling, yells, and similar demonstrations shall not be permitted by the chair, who may direct offenders from the hearing room. I will note that one of the things that we have been doing is just allowing some snaps, some, brief reaction. in between comment. That is not on these rules, but we have been allowing it. What we absolutely have not allowed is interruptions when people are speaking. I am happy to continue with allowing some quiet little snaps of support, but if it escalates beyond that, we will shut it down and we will revert to the strict adherence to the rules, and people will be asked to leave, unfortunately. So with that, we have 8 speakers. 10 speakers, sorry. And we are first going to go to a telephonic speaker. We have, so we'll first go telephonically to Trista DiGenova. And then just to flag who's coming up after that, it's Lori Moore, Robert Royce, and Susie Lonenson. Okay. So, on to the phone is Trista DiGenova on the line.
Hi, Board. I'm a Pima County resident and declared sheriff and justice of the peace candidate, and I will address the Pima County Board of Supervisors at every meeting until my ADA-protected medical alert service dog, Dr. Baker, and prize-winning flock are returned. I cite agency record proving the dog and animals in excellent health and alleged violations of Arizona law, the ADA, animal cruelty statutes, and constitutional protection stemming from a 60-officer raid on my property in August 2023. I'm also calling for the removal of agency heads involved, an emergency shutdown of Pima County Jail due to excessive death, and immediate civilians' rights oversight, and provide ready-made proclamations for the board and the Tucson City Council to vote on. I have also, I'm inviting national civil rights and animal welfare organizations to monitor this case. And in fact, I have created these ready-made resolutions, and I would ask that my supervisor, Andres Cano, please get back to me about the board, the voting on this resolution of the Pima County Board calling for the immediate removal of agency heads involved in the unlawful seizure of an ADA protected service animal in Pima residence flock. Whereas a coordinated multi-agency raid resulted in the unlawful seizure of my service alert dog and prize-winning flock without probable cause, having been verifiably neglected 2 weeks in police and tech custody to fabricate evidence and further falsifying the reports. And whereas agency records and photographs confirm the animals were in excellent health, and whereas such conduct violates Arizona law, federal ADA protections, and basic standards of animal welfare, and whereas public trust has been irreparably damaged by malicious prosecution by the attorney's office and gang stalking behavior by PAC and TCSD by these authorities, including kidnapping, defamation, evidence tampering, involuntary commitment without a cause, and other egregious misconduct that is shocking to the conscience of the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board calls for immediate removal of the heads of the 3 agencies involved in said operation, pending independent investigation, and be it further resolved that the board formally demands the immediate return of the unlawfully seized service animal and entire flock, along with minimum $200,000 in reparations. And be it further resolved that all related records be preserved and released for public and judicial review. Also, I have a resolution for the shutdown and replacement of Pima County Jail. And I also have a resolution for, I volunteer to be your interim sheriff, interim DA, and interim head of PAC until we can restore sanity to these agencies in our county. And so, resolution declaring Pima County Jail a public health and human rights emergency.
Thank you, Ms. DiGenova. Your time is concluded. Thank you. Our next speaker will be Lori Moore.
Is this on? Okay, good morning. My name is Lori Moore, appreciative of a president who puts the safety of U.S. citizens first. Well, the State of the Union was hilarious. I will not ask you four to stand up to show support for U.S. citizens in Pima County. It is more like stay seated if you support illegals and criminals over U.S. citizens. 600,000 illegals were handed $5,000 cash cards. I have not received mine yet. It must be in the mail. 600,000 illegals were handed a free one-way ticket to anywhere. Where do I get that? aiding, abetting, and harboring illegals in motels. The homeless really got the short end of that deal. So the score is illegals 3, U.S. citizens in Pima County 0. Illegals come first in Pima County. Moving on to Prop 418 and 419, you want money for roads. You know, there might be more money for roads if you would stop spending so much on proclamations. Declaring days of diversity on the taxpayer's dime has nothing to do with business. For instance, recognizing individuals in the DSM-5 book, which is a guide for identifying mental health conditions, is costly and discriminatory, as there are over 200 diagnosed categories. Who is going to get your attention next? Personally, I'm looking forward to maybe a day of diversity for pyromaniacs, thanking them for their contributions to society, like keeping the fire department busy, and maybe presenting them with complimentary books of matches. That would make them feel good. Then elevating them to a position they are not qualified for based on a quota system, maybe a position like, I don't know, forest ranger. Running Pima County should be based on fiscal responsibility, not feelings. Now, the Highway Use Revenue Funds and Vehicle License Tax for 2025 brought in over $227 million. That is according to the Arizona Treasurer's website. If this tax remained flat for the next 20 years, the revenue generated would be over $4 billion with a B dollars. If you use that money appropriately versus misdirecting it, you would have 2 times the money that this sales tax would bring in. We do not need a new sales tax. So what needs fixing? Promises made and promises that have not been kept. Proclamations over potholes. Fiscal responsibility over feelings. Thank you for your attention to these matters.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Robert Royce.
Bombs away is not a foreign policy for any great nation. The whole business of dropping bombs from the sky started with the Nazi fascist Germans terror bombing various Spanish cities. Then it moved on to the Nazi fascist Germans terror bombing the city of London and other British cities. We responded by terror bombing Germany, which worked. The war ended. And then we terror bombed Japan with the 2 atomic bombs we threw down. The war ended. 8 years later, the bombs are dropping on Guatemala City. American bombs, American planes, Guatemalan Revolution. 9 years. 6 people died of political violence. That's not good enough. Then the long knives came out and were plunged into the backs of the Iranian democracy. We installed the Shah, a brutal dictator, killed tens of thousands of people, terrorized his country, and drove the revolution into the mosques, where it became the property of the imams. The Iranians responded by installing the brutal Iranian clerical government. We created the situation. And now we're trying to use more bombs to rectify it. Our entire foreign policy, my entire life, has been a disaster. I'm ashamed to say that the world would be in better shape if we had no foreign policy at all. Vietnam, millions of dead Vietnamese, tens of thousands of dead Americans, deformed, terrorized children. The whole rationale was the domino theory. If the commies took over Vietnam, they were going to take over all of Southeast Asia. They responded by moving into Cambodia, taking out the Khmer Rouge, and then leaving. So much for the domino theory. Our entire foreign policy, Iraq lies. Afghanistan, if we hadn't killed so many children, we might have succeeded in stabilizing the government, but no. They'd prefer the Taliban to a government that killed wedding parties and murdered their citizens. Our entire foreign policy has been a disaster. This is just an extension of it. Bombs away is no foreign policy for any great nation.
So thank you. Our next speaker is Susie Lonenson, and please correct me if I mispronounce your last name. And then I will flag that the speakers after Susie are going to be Elizabeth, it looks like Cozy, David Smith, and Betsy Smith.
Okay, good morning. My name is Susie Lawrenson, and given the global initiative against the former leaders in Iran, my concern is for our safety at the Keno Sports Complex in June with the FIFA Soccer World Cup 2026 team from Iran training here. The news says that there are sleeper cells of dangerous people in the United States, and the training event will be a gathering place for huge crowds to watch the training. How will everybody be vetted? We know what happened when the illegals were not vetted. What will the protocol be against the possible terrorists? How will all people attending this event be searched? Will we assume everyone's going to be nice using the honor system or a handshake? How will you protect the citizens attending the training event? Will there be added security? Will there be mandatory metal detectors? Will there be signs? They put signs on school property saying gun-free zone. Will there be signs that say suicide bomber-free zone, which only alerts the armed crazy person that they are the only one with a weapon and everyone else is a sitting duck? Will Sheriff Nanos be involved in securing our safety? These are all important questions to be addressed before the Pima County hosts the Iran soccer training team for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Thank you very much.
And I apologize to the three speakers who I had notified that they were up next. We actually have the time certain at 10 o'clock that we've got to pivot to. So we'll come back to the three speakers whose names I had called after those time certains. So as I noted, we've got a 10 a.m. time certain. This is addendum item number 3, related to the naming of the William Shaw Wildlife Corridor. This is Resolution number 2026-12, designating the Avra Valley portion of the critical landscape linkage identified in the conservation land system as the William Shaw Wildlife Corridor. I believe we have a couple of speakers who would like to tell us about Dr. Shaw and why this naming is so important in his critical work.
Shall we move the item?
Oh, and can I move the item?
And second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion, and in that discussion, I will call up
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chris McPhee.
Members of the board, Ms. Lesher, and audience.
Yes.
So my name's Chris McPhee.
One quick note is that we'll give you 3 minutes is on the clock.
Right. My name's Chris McPhee. I'm the president of the board of the Coalition for Sonoran Desert Protection, and with me today is our executive director, Kate Houghton, our program manager, Nick Maya, and my co-board member, Carolyn Campbell. So I'm speaking for all of us, and we are members of the Desert Fence Busters, and we have worked very hard over the last 4 years to clear wildlife inhibiting fences that are no longer useful on City of Tucson lands and Pima County Flood Control District lands and other lands, landowners who are supportive of this. The National Park Service at Saguaro National Park West, the Bureau of Reclamation at the Bureau of Reclamation Wildlife Corridor that was mitigation for the Cap Canal. We work with the Tohono O'odham Nation and others, and our partnership has, to date, removed over 105 miles. We've been inspired by Dr. Shaw. We decided that we would focus first in the Avra Valley area, both above and below the Garcia Strip, and working with the nation on the Garcia Strip, where there is a 450-acre conservation easement. Our efforts are designed to improve and enhance and restore connectivity for wildlife with willing land managers. This is a mosaic of lands. Pima County has purchased the Cap Canal Bridge parcels that were used by bighorn sheep for the first time in over 45 years. I think it was around 2018. So this is really important for the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan. These efforts are all volunteers under the auspices of Arizona Game and Fish Department, and our work is designed to celebrate the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan, to enhance and support our multi-species conservation plan, and to improve the mosaic that contributes to wildlife movement throughout the county. We've also worked in other areas, Supervisor Scott in the Big Wash, the Emperita Ranch, Supervisor Christie, and we continue, and we will continue. And so we really appreciate the board recognizing the tremendous work that Dr. Shaw has done since his first bunny map in 1986, which identified the genetic isolation and geographic isolation of the Tucson Mountains. His work with the Science Technical Advisory Team that informed the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan and our multi-species conservation plan. His exemplary work as a professor at the University of Arizona, which has touched so many lives and has contributed so richly to our community and so many professionals who served within it. And we thank you. We thank you very much for acknowledging this as part of the celebration for the 25th anniversary of the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan.
Thank you. Since, I wanted to thank Chris McVie, Carolyn Campbell, the Desert Fence Busters, for bringing this resolution forward. And I'm sorry, I'm digging through my bag for a real reason. And it is because, where did it go? I was reading Dr. Shaw's book. Here we go. Last night. It looks like it was printed on a typewriter, which is, a not seen for a while book. But it is it helped expand my appreciation, right, for his work and for this resolution, in recognizing him and naming a portion of the Abra Valley Wildlife Corridor after him. As Chris noted, he is known for his work as an ecologist, for the professor, authored a report on critical and sensitive wildlife habitats of eastern Pima County and created the Bunny Map in 1986, which was among the first of its kind to identify local wildlife corridors, particularly one connecting the Tucson Mountains with Ross Scrooge and Silverbell Mountains, and another one connecting the north end of the Tucson Mountains to the Tortolitas. Already heard that he led the Science Technical Advisory Team to inform the development of the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan and the Multi-Species Conservation Plan. So it is fitting then, as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan, that we take time to honor those who had a major hand in shaping it. So I would also like to extend an invitation to everyone to join us for an official naming ceremony, provided that my colleagues all support this resolution. Official naming ceremony of the Shaw Corridor. That will be this Friday, March 6th at 9 a.m. at the Red Hills Visitor Center at Saguaro National Park West. Any other comments from my colleagues? Supervisor Cano.
Thank you, Chair Allen. I want to extend my appreciation to the folks who have joined us in the board hearing room today for support of this item. It is timely, as the chair mentioned, with the 25th anniversary of the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan, and we kicked that off last week in a wonderful ceremony next to the Pima County Courthouse. There's going to be a year-long celebration of activities from nature walks to museum days to artists coming together in celebration of the incredible desert that we love. And I encourage the public to be a part of all of this. This is one community, one Sonoran Desert, and there's an activity waiting to happen in the year ahead for you. The address, a fantastic website developed by the administration and our communications staff, pima.gov/SDCP25. Really excited about this year-long celebration and wanted to add those comments for the record. Thank you, Chair Allen.
Any further discussion? Supervisor Hines.
I was just going to vote.
Oh, all right, already. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We have a 10:15 time certain Supervisor Christie, that item was yours. Would you be open to considering it now, or would you like to come back and set the
I'd be
minutes?
glad to do it now.
Okay.
If that's the will of the board, it's fine with me. I do understand the time constraints, and I will ask my questions in a very time and efficient manner, and I'm hoping that I can receive some answers in the same spirit that we move through this. I'm also thinking that it might, many of the questions that I have might best be served to be asked as a wrap-up kind of a meeting after the elections, to have some sort of an analysis of how things went. But just to figure out some questions that I was not allowed to ask or was unable to ask at the last meeting, I'm going to ask a couple of them now. This one is directed to our recorder. I'm not sure February 18th, there was a press release from the county recorder's office that stated, and I quote, "This project," and I'm talking at this project being the Votemobile, "this project was made possible by a grant from the Tohono O'odham Nation and in partnership with the Pima County Board of Supervisors." We got a list from the 2 years that the grant was awarded to the recorder for the purchase and acquisition of the mobile voting trailer. And it shows that in a 2-year period, you were granted roughly $215,000 for the Votemobile. We looked at the agenda of those years of the Board of Supervisors, and we found no evidence or no relation to anything from the recorder's office letting us know that the recorder's office was in the process of acquiring this grant, much less that it received the grant. Yes, yet this press release says that this project, the Votemobile, is in partnership with the Pima County Board of Supervisors. That's a very misleading statement. It never came before the board. We never knew you were trying to acquire the grant. We never knew that you were granted the grant. We never knew that you were acquired the Votemobile, yet you say we were in partnership with the Board of Supervisors. May very well have been if it had come before the Board of Supervisors, but it never did. So my concern is that you have the blessing of the Board of Supervisors, which if you brought it to the board, you probably would get it. But in the meantime, we're kind of joined at the hip of the future of this acquisition that we were not notified you had. So my first question is, how do you devise or interpret this as a partnership with the Pima County Board of Supervisors when we had nothing to do with it?
And if I may interrupt, sorry, Recorder Caceres-Kelly, just to note that we are talking about agenda item because we didn't reference which item we're on in the agenda. It is addendum item number 4, 2026 Regional Transportation Authority Special Election.
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, it was my understanding that this project had come through and had been received the approval of the board to receive the dollars. And so we have been communicating about this mobile voting unit. I have been here before and talked about the mobile voting unit over the past 2 years. We have been talking about it. In addition, I do want to make it clear that at no point is it mandatory that questions from supervisors be directed to me only during meetings. You're very welcome to contact me at my office directly at any time to discuss this. But
Madam Recorder, the first time we heard of this acquisition was when your deputy made reference to it at a Elections Integrity Commission meeting in January. That was the first time It was heard by anyone, not just the Board of Supervisors, anyone. There's no evidence that this was brought before the board, and there's no evidence that we have engaged in a partnership and given it our blessing.
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, thank you for bringing this to my attention. We can take a look at what documentation we have. Obviously, this was put on the addendum on a Friday during an active election, and I'm not prepared to respond to that, your question regarding a timeline of communication regarding the vote mobile at this time.
Understood. Going to another issue regarding a press release. It states one envelope ballot return solution aims to reduce voter confusion. The return solution, by getting rid of what is now known as the privacy envelope, that's designed to solve a problem. Was there a problem with having the privacy envelope?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, yes, the two envelope system was creating a lot of challenges for the office. We made the change specifically to address several issues. Number one has been the voter confusion. The number of ballots that we were receiving without the required ballot affidavit was incredibly high. I believe in the last presidential election, it was upwards of over 700. In an election where, in a county where we've had razor thin elections, that's quite significant. When people return those ballots with only using the privacy envelope and not the ballot affidavit envelope, it would often be sent back to us with absolutely name to attribute to that voter, meaning we were not able to verify that ballot, meaning that voter was disenfranchised. The other thing that was happening was the removal of the privacy envelope was incredibly labor intensive. It slowed the process and would not allow us to even verify with the voter if they're calling over the phone or they're checking up on our website whether or not we have received their ballot affidavit. And that would put them at risk for double voting if they weren't sure if we had their ballot and we couldn't tell them they had their ballot because we had the privacy envelope to get through. That would create a delay and that voter might get nervous and go vote again. The other thing that we have been responding to is the public's demand for faster processing, faster signature verification, and that leads to turning them over to the elections department for tabulation. So we have seen a statewide issue with that, a national push, and in addition, it's really important for us to remember that we are currently, I believe we're at 680,000 registered voters and counting. If we include the inactive voters, that puts us around 720,000 registered voters. That's 750,000. In 10 to 15 years, we're going to have 1 million voters in Pima County, and we have to address those changes. Maricopa County has been utilizing the single envelope return system for 3 decades. This is not a concern for a jurisdiction of their size, and with our growth, we have to be thinking about that.
Well, it is a concern for a jurisdiction my size, and I'm not pulling any punches about the amount of inquiries and complaints and concerns my office has received as a result of the removal of the privacy envelope. This is a whole new ball game for many traditional voters, particularly who reside in my district. Are you familiar with the blog for Arizona?
Yes.
And I would not characterize it as a right-wing conspiracy site blog. I've never heard of it until I was given this, surprisingly. But their headline is, "New mail-in ballot design has voters concerned about privacy." Did you get a chance to read this?
No, I did not.
Okay. I suggest you do because it is illuminating as to how much concern there is. And Madam Chair, my final question to expedite this interview, which I appreciate knowing how busy you are right in the middle of an election. I appreciate your forthcoming to this meeting. And I'd like to direct this to our elections director. With all this new efficiency, with no privacy envelope being removed, in the name of expediting the counting and tabulation process, are you seeing a big influx in your office as a result of the privacy envelope being removed over and above what you normally would see?
Excuse me, Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie. Well, that's hard to say because it's a different type of election. So we did get a large volume of ballots handed over to us the first week, and then now things are decreasing. So it's hard to say how quickly they are processing them and getting them to us. But we have received so far over 100,000, so 110,000 ballots so far in our office.
Is that considered good at this particular point? I think tabulation just started the 27th, is that right?
Tabulation started the 27th. We have processed 95,628 ballots, but we've counted basically 65,354. So there were 30,000 ballots left on yesterday to tabulate today. And I believe we're receiving more ballots from the recorder's office this morning.
So you don't have a feel if this privacy envelope removal system is increasing returns to your office?
Not at this time, no, sir.
Okay, and my final question, Madam Chair, Madam Director, anything in particular keeping you up at night?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, no, sir. Everything is well. Thank you.
Even with the elections?
Even with the elections.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Director and Recorder.
Supervisor Hines.
Thank you, Chair Allen, and welcome. Thanks for coming to the time certain item. I just wanted to say that I dropped off my ballot in your office yesterday, and your staff is excellent. They were a little confused because the supervisor was asking to talk to you, so they were a little, but no, they were very, very great. And congratulations on kicking off the new mobile voting unit, and thank you for stationing it in Saurita, which is in District 2, for a number of days. I very much appreciate that. So thanks for all this work.
Yeah. I also would like to thank our elections leaders for your recognition too, that change is not always easy. You're looking ahead, right, and thinking towards how our elections can be cost effective and efficient, right? There is a clamor for results to be turned around more quickly. So I appreciate that you're using evidence-based practices that can help speed up and reduce the costs of our elections. I also want to acknowledge and thank the opportunity to participate in the ribbon cutting of the mobile vote unit yesterday out in Sells. It was a beautiful event and was a clear recognition of how having a mobile unit in which people out in rural areas can come and hand in their ballot, check and see if they are registered, and participate in the election process in places where there is not great access to participate in elections. People were coming right then and there to hand in their ballot. It was an incredible honor, and it was rooted in community's commitment and understanding and value of our democracy. So real pleasure to be there. So thank you for inviting me, but more importantly, thank you for doing that work and being so cutting edge.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Cano.
I want to extend my gratitude to the county recorder and to our elections director. For the public's information, I do believe it's important for you to know this fact that I have verified with our elections team. 2.5 million voters in Maricopa County. 1.9 of them vote by mail. So they get a ballot, and it's the same ballot that Pima County is now using with their return envelope. And they've been doing that for more than 10 years. It is important for us to ensure that any kind of change in our systems is dealt with in a responsible manner. But the reality is that a majority of our sister county, the largest county in Arizona, is using the same envelope, and that it is a very important distinction to make as we wrap up this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. I will note, just flag that we have a hearing scheduled. It's a time certain at 10:45. So we are going to resume, and that is agenda item number 13. That is a hearing. People have signed up to speak for that hearing. So there's a group of speakers for that piece. But we are going to return to call to the public and continue call to the public until that time certain at 10:45. So that will pick us back up where we left off. Our next three speakers then in this order are Elizabeth Cozy, David Smith, and Betsy Smith. So I will invite Ms. Cozy, Elizabeth Cozy.
Good morning. Short people. Supervisors, hi. Thank you for all you do and this opportunity to address the board. My name is Elizabeth Cozy. I am employed at the United Way of Tucson in Southern Arizona. I'm also on the leadership team for the Community Coalition for Prosperity, but I happen to be here today as a constituent who both lives and works in District 5. I am here today in support of item number 22, which it sounds like you won't be addressing until 3:30 today, but it's the Regional Housing Strategy and Funding Plan. Pima County has been working with nonprofit organizations, institutions of higher education, a consulting group, and community members to address the lack of affordable housing and to identify the types and locations of housing that's needed to address this crisis. So this plan is the next right thing and deserves your yes vote. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is David Smith.
Well, good morning, supervisors, both elected and unelected. You know, it's interesting to me, since the tragedy that occurred up in the foothills here with Nancy Guthrie, we've had a lot of attention from the East Coast and from Los Angeles media, and they're all shocked when they come to Tucson thinking it's a beautiful resort community. And to find the condition of our roads, to find the conditions of crime, drugs, all these things that are happening, and they're quite surprised. And so I decided I was just sitting there after talking when I ran through our chat GPT, and which I consider sort of a left-of-center artificial intelligence. What is the role of the Board of Supervisors? And it's to provide responsible governance, fiscal stewardship, and oversight of county services to protect the health, safety, and welfare of residents, which seems to be always the last thing on your minds. Now, you're going to debate a ordinance about masks in a minute, but Arizona used to actually have a law about masks. If you committed a crime while masked, it was in itself a crime. But since then, Bruce Babbitt came in 78, rewrote those laws, and we all had to relearn our criminal statutes. The mask itself became a aggravator. So is that okay? Is that okay? I'd like my time back, about 10 seconds more. So all I can say is you guys are spending a great deal of time on something that's not in your bailiwick. It's not your control to control how federal agents wear or don't wear masks. But again, I read your ordinance, and it seems to me it's going to be interesting to see who does violate this ordinance, especially as who is in protest or in other situations. What would happen here? Now,
I will ask people to be quiet while the speaker is speaking. Otherwise,
okay, thank you. That's nice. All right. So the problem is again, one of the things I see is we have complained and talked and argued about the simple immigration that occurred by millions for 4 years. And now all of a sudden we're in a situation where we are in a conflict with a group who now we're hearing may have, which we have said all along, having actually dealt with this in a law enforcement capacity, could have cells in this United States, which requires more than ever an effective immigration enforcement and effective intelligence within the United States to protect the citizens. That's one of your real primary goals. Our sheriff has certainly embarrassed us over the last month, and I assume you've all paid attention to that. But we need to attend to those issues, focus on the residents of this community, protect this society. And also, folks, I challenge you, your job is not to protect county employees or chide those who question them. Your job is to protect the residents and monitor the county employees and other elected officials. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Betsy Smith.
Good morning. I was so glad to see that proclamation, Doctor, about healthcare worker mental health. That is huge. Our family is military, we're cops, and we're healthcare workers. And burnout is real. And I'll tell you, my husband's doctor told us recently that he's leaving. He's going back to our native Chicago. He's leaving Pima County because he got here, and like Dave said, he thought he was coming to this beautiful kind of resort area, and in reality, what he has found is that we have homelessness and drugs and crime and all these things, just like the national media, I work in the national media, is finding out about Pima County, and it's really sad. And he's going to go back to Chicago. He'd rather go to Chicago than stay here in Pima County, which is super sad. But I wonder if you think about not just healthcare worker mental health, but law enforcement officer mental health. Police officers take their own life twice as often as they die by felonious assaults. And one of the reasons that police officers, and by the way, we used to have 1 million cops in this country, we're down to about 750,000. And a big part of that is the war on cops, and you are perpetuating that by this ridiculous war on federal agents. We have had, in 59 days, we have had 62 police officers shot in this country. 7 of those were killed. Attacks on ICE agents are up 1,300%. So while we're concerned about the mental health of healthcare workers, we also need to be worried about the mental health of our law enforcement officers. So allowing this ridiculous discussion and this silly ordinance about masking that is not going to stop federal agents from masking. You're not going to stop them. You have absolutely no control over federal agents. ICE is going to continue to do their job. They're going to continue to do it well. They're going to continue to be brave. All you are doing is attacking not just the physical and mental well-being of federal agents, but of our own Pima County police officers as well. I would ask you to do what you are supposed to do, and that is govern. That is to protect the residents of Pima County, to do what we need to do to protect everyone and stop the silly nonsense about mask and ICE and all of that. And please get back to doing your jobs. Thank you. Why is that allowed? That is disturbing and upsetting.
Ma'am.
I feel unsafe now because of this bizarre.
Can we please continue on with call to the audience? And ma'am, this is the second time, ma'am, I'm looking at you. This is the second time now I'm having to ask you to please be quiet and respect people's right to speak. If I hear from you again, I'm going to have to ask Call to Arms to escort you out. Thank you. Our next 3 speakers is going to be Mark Clark. Then we will have April Putney. And then I believe and then we have Vivek Bakarathan. And Vivek, please help me pronounce your name correctly. So our next speaker is Mark Clark.
Good morning, Chair Allen, members of the Board of Supervisors. I am here today on behalf of your Regional Affordable Housing Commission, which I chair. I'm pleased to be here today on what is the culmination of the significant work that has gone into the development of this regional housing strategy and funding plan. Later today in this meeting, you're going to hear from staff and consultants who worked on this report, so I'm going to leave it to them to get into the details. But I do want to highlight a few points about this groundbreaking strategy and plan. First, I think it's important to note that the draft of this plan has already been making positive difference in affordable housing development in Pima County. The data developed as part of this planning process has already been utilized in work being done both in Pima County and in other local jurisdictions. It establishes a roadmap for reporting and accountability for use not in just Pima County related to the general funds allocations, but also other efforts to increase the supply and access to affordable housing. Equally, it provides a framework for data-driven decision-making, regionally and in other jurisdictions. One clear benefit, which will flow from the plan, is its formal approval will expand the development opportunities with the identification of revitalization zones, which are helping developers to be eligible for more and diverse funding and removing impediments to increasing housing supply of all types, including both affordable housing, middle market housing, and market rate housing. This strategy and plan also aligns closely with other county plans, including the Prosperity Initiative, Comprehensive Plan, Pima Prospers, Climate Action, One Pima, as well as the plans in towns like Marana and Oro Valley and the city of Tucson. And so on behalf of my fellow commissioners, I'm here to strongly encourage you to adopt this Pima County 10-year regional housing strategy and funding plan. I'm sure my fellow commissioners join me in expressing our sincerest appreciation to the staff and consultants who have enabled us to get to where we are today. And finally, I want to express our appreciation and gratitude to you for your support of this commission and for the important work to which we are all committed. We are excited to begin the next phases of this crucial work and look forward to continuing to work together with each of you and your staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is April Putney.
Good morning, Chair Allen, Board of Supervisors. I support affordable housing. I support the work our recorder's office is doing, and I came here to speak about the recommended use of Project Blue land sale proceeds proposed by County Administrator for now, Jan Lesher. First, I'd like to say about that, aren't you guys involved in a lawsuit right now about the zoning process around that? Aren't you getting a little ahead of yourself, I think? Also, economic development, $3.12 million from the land sale proceeds. This is a slap in the face. This is a slap in the face as a proposal to all of the constituents who have very clearly come out against this particular type of economic development in the county. We do not want to see money from the land sale proceeds of this non-consensual, horrible development go to positions that are specifically and explicitly there to attract similar types of development to our region. Shame. Shame on you for that. I'd also like to say the parts of this proposal that talk about foreign direct investment and Chamber of Commerce support do not deserve any type of support from our Board of Supervisors, and I'm sure many constituents would agree, and you will probably be hearing about all of that very soon. I also want to mention that the funds from this land sale contract, if this actually goes through and Pima County gets to keep them, how that money should be spent should be considered with public input. This is something that went through, Project Blue is something that went through or may still go through with clear community opposition that will have extreme harmful effects on the community. So the community needs to be consulted and their feedback needs to be taken into consideration for how that money is going to be spent. I have some ideas. The proceeds should go to mitigate the damage that will occur based on this development, including things like healthcare, things like utility relief from the very real rising costs of utility bills that this type of large-scale energy user like data centers, specifically Project Blue, will create in people's lives. People are already having a really hard time affording their energy bills. Things like this will increase them, and so money taken for a project like Project Blue should go back into the community and help prevent people from getting housing displaced because they can't afford their energy bills and the rising cost of rent. I'm sure there are lots of people in the community who will have other ideas about the way that the money should be spent, and you should be consulting your constituents about that, absolutely. Lastly, I might have to go before the masking thing coming up later, so I just want to say I absolutely support the ordinance to force accountability on law enforcement officers.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Vivek Bharathan.
Hello, my name is Vivek, that rhymes with cake. I am here from the No Desert Data Center Coalition. I just echo everything April just said. It is premature. First of all, this memo just came out last week. There needs to be some community involvement in determining how these funds are spent, given the overwhelming community opposition to Project Blue in the first place. And yes, it is absolutely insulting that so much of those funds are dedicated under this plan to fund the same economic development team that brought us Project Blue in the first place. That is not the direction the people of Pima County want to take, and we made that clear since summer. Thank you.
So with that, that is our last speaker for call to the audience. I will be closing call to the public, and would any board members like to request staff to follow up on any matter from call to the public, request that an item be placed on a future agenda, or respond to a criticism? Supervisor Hines.
Thank you, Chair Allen. And just to clarify a point I heard that was made by a speaker, the RTA vote that is ongoing right now does not represent a new or increase in tax. It is a continuation of a tax that we are already paying at the same level. I just wanted to make sure that was clear to everyone. Also, Keno Sports Complex is in my district, and we heard some comments about the Iranian team potentially training there. I would say, I would reverse that. I wonder if Iranians would like to come here in light of what just happened with their own country and what our government just did. So I for one think, there's some uncertainty as to whether or not that's going to happen, but it's important that we differentiate the heads of government and then the people in those countries. I don't like Putin. I like a lot of Russians, though. So, yeah. So, and yes, the sports complex has security protocols that are in place, of course. So that's all I have to say.
Supervisor Scott.
Chair Allen, following up on the speaker who made reference to the use of Keno Sports Complex for the as base camp for the Iranian national team during the upcoming World Cup, I wanted to see if the county administrator had any updates from the governing organization dealing with the World Cup on the potential use of our facility by the Iranian national team.
Chair Allen and Supervisor Scott, we have been working closely with FIFA, the International Association, from the beginning and throughout this past weekend. And while we are working together on any kind of necessary security precautions, we do believe that we will have an update on the status of the potential visit from the Iranian team later this week, and we'll keep the board and the public notified.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chair Allen.
Okay. There are no further comments. We are going to move to our time certain, which is agenda item number 13. It is a hearing on ordinance number 2026-2 relating to the public peace and welfare, amending the Pima Code, Title IX, et cetera, regarding the regulation of unidentified mass groups. For that hearing, we have a number of speakers who have signed up. So I will, for a quick context, at our first meeting in February, we asked the administration, county attorney's office, to develop an ordinance prohibiting law enforcement officials from wearing masks or face coverings to obscure their identities. At our second meeting in February, we passed a resolution affirming that commitment, and today we have a proposed ordinance before us. So we are holding this hearing today to take in public comment. I will flag that it's my hope that my colleagues will support gathering the public's feedback and then feedback from this board that can be incorporated into a final version that we'll vote on at our next meeting on March 23rd. With that, I will call up the first three speakers: Glenda Avalos, Margot Itule, and Florence Johnson will be our first three speakers.
Buenos dias. I just want to say really quick that I am Guatemalan and my country still has yet to recover from what the gentleman who said it earlier, and I agree with everything that April has said. With that said, I am part of Casa Maria's team and I am a resident in District 5. Our communities have always been systemically threatened, and that threat has escalated and it is expanding to all since the beginning of the year. We at Casa Maria witness daily the weary, the vulnerability, and how our communities are pushed to the brink every day. We are all connected spiritually, and when one thread is ripped, it affects us all. When we do all that we can to take care of each other, it is divine will. We can then easily hold on to each other and embrace what is to come. This threat will only get worse. In creating this ordinance, there is no room for exemptions. We need the ordinance to be as solid as it can be. We look to you to do what's in your power to protect and alleviate the weight of the community that it bears. Time and time again this morning, people have said to you that you need to look out for your residents, your constituents, your so forth. But this community is made out of more. And because we're all intertwined spiritually, you have to look at it as a whole. We can't leave people behind. So when we're looking at it as a whole, and you look at your hand, if your pinky seems so useless because it's so small, it doesn't take away what its purpose is. And just because somebody can't vote for you, because they're either unsheltered, because they're either unstable, because their health is somewhere where they can't get to be registered somewhere, does not mean that they don't matter. So when we look forward to creating this idea of a paradise that so many said today, it needs to include everyone, not just the ones that vote. Because we walk together and we can't be able to embrace a future where we don't include everyone. But if you're going to continue to act only on the behalf of your constituents and your own district, then just simply say you don't care about anybody else. Let's just be transparent and clear in that. But if you really are being convicted, then let's work on everybody's behalf.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Margot Itule.
Good morning. My name is Margot Itule. And I'm speaking today as an unpaid, independent, concerned Tucsonan. Americans are fed up with the unlawful, destructive, and reprehensible actions of secret police invading, terrorizing, and disappearing people in our cities and neighborhoods. These agents under the federal DHS system have absolutely no accountability while they murder and brutalize our communities. We have had enough, and as we take to the streets to protect our neighbors, we too are being attacked, sent to jail, concentration camps, and yes, even murdered. To quote Christopher Armitage, we're playing in a system where one side breaks all the rules and the referee calls fouls only on the other team. I'm really proud of Tucson's strong coalition of grassroots community organizations. One of these groups, the Community Protection Task Force, has been meeting with local law enforcement to try to convince them to resist complying with the Trump administration's deportation agenda. The outrageous corruption and abuse of executive power of this administration is severely and negatively impacting us all. We, the people, are organizing to preserve what is left of our Constitution and democracy. Now, we need our elected officials to step up, push back, protect our rights, our safety, our country. Thank you for presenting the ordinance regulating masked groups. I fully support item 13 on the agenda. It's a good start in the right direction, but it doesn't go far enough. Tucson's Community Rapid Response Team has identified over 600 unmarked vehicles being used in ICE arrests. Law enforcement vehicles must also be identified. There are a number of other critical issues that should be taken into consideration. For example, the judicial warrant rule, no facilitation rule, privacy protection rule, surveillance prohibition, redress rule, no agents on public property. I'm asking that the council continue to coordinate with our city attorney and attorney general to secure adoption and enforcement of strategic, comprehensive, and long-lasting policies and rules. I would also ask that you continue including community feedback. The ACLU has outlined 9 model state and local law enforcement policies and rules which, if adopted, will protect us from the worst abuses of the Trump administration. These policies can be found on the ACLU Arizona website. I strongly urge you to implement these 9 policies. Tucson is behind you and will support you and assist you in accomplishing this goal. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Florence Johnson, and then after Florence, we will hear from Roland Baker, Kristen Downing, and Tanya Nunez.
Good morning, supervisors. I'm a resident of District 3, and I'm part of the Community Protection Task Force, which does meet monthly with our police and sheriff's department, as well as members of city governance and we hope county governance as well. So we'd like to invite you to participate in some of these discussions or to send a staff person to participate. I'm here to support the ordinance that Pima County is putting forth, item number 13. I want to say that I am hearing from members of the community who don't look like me, who will not be calling 911 when they see domestic violence or child abuse or elder abuse, because they're afraid when police come or when the sheriff comes to their neighborhood and what happens to their neighbors or their families or their co-workers. So I want you to know that we're not safer when we have these federal agents conducting immigration enforcement in our community, because when people aren't calling 911, they're afraid to go to the doctor too. They're afraid to go to the hospital. They're going to be sicker. They're going to be out on our streets, and people will be in dire need of assistance. And this is something that a lot of people who support the president's policy don't really consider how this would endanger a community like Tucson. So I just want to urge you to continue with this, to take a look at the ACLU Arizona's 9 policies, and I'll keep this brief and say thank you for your public service, and being part of an elected board, which represents everyone in our community, all residents, not just people who can vote. Thank you.
Next is Roland Baker.
Good morning, Chair Allen and all supervisors. I'm a proud member of Supervisor District 1 with Supervisor Scott. So today I am here on sort of two situations. The first one is Ordinance 2026. I want to thank all 4 of you who voted for this ordinance when it was a resolution. We absolutely need this. What my other friends have said, I'm also a member of the Community Task Force. In fact, we're meeting today so that we can talk with the sheriff and the chief of police, make sure that they will protect all of our residents. And like Florence said, people like myself, I don't have to worry about making a phone call. But all of my friends, and I have many of them, they cannot. Every Thursday, we have a meeting at Derechos Humanos at Global Justice. And at that meeting every Thursday night, we have families who come and speak to us about the horrendous things that have happened to them in their houses. Their children are afraid to go to school. Their children are staying in their rooms because they're afraid to get out of their homes, because they're afraid of being picked up. They're afraid of their parents being kidnapped and taken to these detention centers, actually internment camps, because we have a long history in this country of detention centers, starting all the way when we started to put our indigenous people in those detention centers and killing them. We've been doing this for a very long time. We have not learned our history. We need to learn our history. What I would like here also is to ask that you incorporate the part of wearing your masks. All law enforcement seem to wear their masks. There should not be an exception. So I'm hoping that with this ordinance, you include that they wear their masks. The other thing to which I want to talk about is what's going on in Marana and sorry about that. I want to leave a quote for you, and it's from someone who I've honored for many years, Angela Davis. I want to talk to you about what she says about immigration detention. And I quote, "Prisoners do not disappear problems. They disappear human beings. And the practice of disappearing vast numbers of people from poor, immigrant, and racially marginalized communities has literally become big business. How can we prevent the criminalization and demonization of people who are called non-citizens? How can we prevent the incarceration of ever-increasing numbers of men and of women as well, and children?" Then her last quote,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kristen Downey.
Good morning. I am Kristen Downing. I am scrolling my phone. There we go. Thank you for taking the time to discuss ICE and how best to protect our community, which is not a silly endeavor, as others have said. It's the most important endeavor you can take. I am speaking in favor of the ordinance that prevents ICE agents from hiding their identities with masks. I have now lived in Pima County for almost half my life, and I can say with absolute certainty that what makes Southern Arizona the wonderful place that it is because of all the diverse cultures and rich traditions that are steeped into our community. This is why my husband and I chose to raise our family here and be involved in scouting and sports and organizations that are doing all they can to help the community. That is my favorite thing about Tucson, how everyone pulls together and to learn from each other and to help their neighbors. We have seen what ICE does in the face of this type of community. They employ racist and violent tactics without hesitation to rip apart families and scare those who are involved in working to protect their friends and families. This administration is doing all it can to erase anyone who truly makes this country great. If you aren't a white, cisgendered, heterosexual Christian male, you are un-American and deemed a threat to the regime. This mandate is what ICE is carrying out. So the laughter's okay? Laughing at people's demise. That's fantastic. That's what they're about. This mandate is what ICE is carrying out across the country and why they have to cover their faces as they do it. Thank you for standing up to ICE's horrific practices and being an example of how elected officials in Southern Arizona should be looking out for their people. No human being is illegal for simply existing, and we must continue standing up to anyone who says otherwise. The resolutions and ordinances you are passing and the work our local organizations are doing to protect our neighbors is an example of how, in the words of James Baldwin, hope is invented every day. Let's keep bringing hope forward, and thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tanya Nunez, and then after Tanya, we will hear from Joanna Karichner. Vivek and April.
Okay, good morning, Chair Allen and Board of Supervisors. My name is Tanya Nunez. I'm a proud daughter of immigrants. My family and I are not illegals, and we should vehemently condemn such disgusting, dehumanizing language, especially on land that was pillaged through genocide by European immigrants. I've lived in Arizona my entire life, living in Pima County for over 10 years, and was born and raised in Douglas, Arizona, a border town. I know firsthand the reality at the border. I am part of the immigrant community, unlike many of the people here that come with hate and ignorance in their hearts and who believe poisonous lies being spread about our immigrant neighbors, not because they actually know and coexist with immigrants, but because they hear it from racists and white supremacists on TV. Immigrants are not criminals. They are not a danger to our communities. This is simply a racist lie, and the facts do not support it. Study after study shows that immigrants are far less likely to commit crimes than U.S. citizens. They are our essential workers. There are people who take care of our family members and our homes, who pick our food, who pay taxes into a social security system that they may never even benefit from. They aren't tearing our neighborhoods apart. They are holding them together. So why are we being told this lie? Because politicians and the billionaires they serve want us to fight each other. They want non-immigrants to look at immigrants and blame them for our struggles. They want us to believe that immigrants are the reason we can't afford rent or groceries or at home, but we know the truth. The real problem isn't our neighbor. It's the rich people and corporations who hoard our country's wealth, drive up the cost of living, destroy our planet for profit, and wage war abroad and have nothing to do with democracy or security, but about trying to take over the world and its resources. Bombing schools and killing hundreds of school girls, as the Trump administration has just done in Iran, is a real and most egregious crime there can be. So how dare him and his supporters talk about the crime and threat that immigrants supposedly pose as they bomb children abroad and execute citizens in cold blood in our streets. We will not be fooled, and we say no to Trump's mass deportations. These mass deportations are just policy. They are a violent attack on our communities. We are seeing ICE carry out massive raids in our neighborhoods, hunting down our family members, our friends, our co-workers. Millions of families in this country are mixed status. That means family members could be taken away, leaving their children behind, ripping the breadwinner away from the table. This is enforcing the law. It's cruelty. And let's not forget why people leave their homes in the first place. No one makes a decision lightly. They're fleeing extreme poverty and violence. Violence often fueled by the United States corporate interests and foreign policies that create instability abroad. The state citizens that hurt working people here are the ones creating refugees overseas. So yeah, we say no to these mass deportations are costing us money. Estimates say that 90 billion of our tax dollars are going to go to these deportations. Imagine what that money could go to. And so yeah, we say ICE out of the community, money for jobs and education, not war and deportation.
Our next speaker is Joanna Karichner, and I will again remind the audience to not make sounds, laughter, coughing. If you need a cough drop to alleviate the coughs, I believe that there are some by the door. Thank you. Joanna.
Thank you, members of the community, members of the board. I am Joanna Karichner. I am a resident of District 5. I'm a massage therapist and a small business owner. I've never spoken at a board meeting before. In fact, last time you had one meeting was the first time I'd been in one. The last time I was here at the supervisors meeting, a man in our community stood up and told a story about not feeling safe in his neighborhood because an undocumented immigrant had broken into his house and held him at gunpoint. Now, that is certainly a terrifying experience for this man, and I'm sorry that it happened. But I would like to tell you a couple of different stories. I have been sexually assaulted 3 times in my life, all 3 of them U.S.-born American citizens, white men. Terrifying experiences, all of them, haunted me for years. But does it equate that all U.S.-born white male citizens should be assumed to be sexual predators, rounded up and put in concentration camps because I was assaulted by 3 of them? Now, I live in South Tucson. The majority of my neighbors are non-white. Many of my neighbors are undocumented. I've lived in that house for 20 years, and in that time, I have never been broken into, never been assaulted, never been harassed. What has happened is that when my car broke down, my undocumented neighbor came over and spent hours fixing it and tried to charge me less than most mechanics would. When my mother's house had a lot of extra debris in the yard, my undocumented neighbor came over and cleaned it out and took it to the dump, and again, tried to charge me less than most other similar services. I have never had kinder or more helpful neighbors in my life. You can always find someone to scapegoat if you want to. ICE claims to be rounding up the worst of the worst. Julia Benitez, also known as La Abuela, a 79-year-old grandmother with dementia, spent 9 months in a detention center in Eloy until community outrage finally helped her get released. She's not the worst of the worst. Our current administration is full of sexual predators. Our current president is an adjudicated sexual predator, but he is wealthy and white, and he and his friends are not being rounded up and put into concentration camps, but our hardworking, kind, community-oriented Black and brown neighbors are. The very least we can do is ensure that ICE thugs are not rounding up our hardworking neighbors, that they are showing their faces and their names, and only taking people who have signed judicial warrants. That is the very least we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Vivek Baruthan.
Hi, just want to add my voice to and echo everyone who's spoken so far in support of this ordinance. I appreciate your efforts in bringing it up. Thank you for doing that, and I hope you'll vote for it.
Our next speaker is April Putney.
Hello again, Chair Allen and Board of Supervisors. Like Vivek, I want to echo pretty much what everybody has said before I came up here to speak. I'm unpaid. I'm in District 5. I also want to add that I don't think, although I support this ordinance, I don't think it necessarily really goes far enough. I think it could have more teeth. I identify some potential issues with the Sheriff's Department actually following through and enforcing it as a law. I don't have confidence that the Sheriff's Department will do that. But I hope that you write the ordinance so that there's teeth, so that you can encourage the Sheriff's Department to enforce the law against masked vigilantes, including federal officers who break the law. I don't think there should be exceptions for ICE to wear masks when they otherwise identify themselves. They're wearing masks because they know that they're doing something wrong and they don't want to be held accountable by the community, many of whom in the community go out of their way to do unpaid volunteer positions, spending their time that they could otherwise be doing things they'd rather do to film these thugs and hold them accountable in a very minimalistic baseline, the least we can do type of way, filming and witnessing, bearing witness on the evils that are occurring. So although I want to say that I very much support this ordinance, I think it could go a little bit farther. I'd like to see it actually enforced, and that there should not be exemptions for ICE to wear masks if they're clearly identified. I think they should also have to clearly identify as ICE. Let's just say that. They should definitely have to clearly identify who they are, but they should not be allowed to wear masks while they do so. I also agree specifically with the speaker who mentioned that They should not be allowed to roll around in kidnapping vehicles. By the way, a lot of them are dark Dodge Durangos, black or charcoal gray, and the prefix typically associated with these kidnap vehicles that ICE is using on their license plate is CWW or C whatever. So if you see a dark Dodge Durango, you can call the rapid response hotline number. If you think it might be ICE, the number is 520-221-4077. Yeah, okay. So with that, I support this in general, would like to see it go a little bit farther. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing Selena into the room today. With that, we will close the public hearing, provided there are no other speakers. Okay. Did you fill out a speaker form for this hearing?
I did for the other one, but I can fill it out for this.
Please do.
Okay.
You can do that afterwards and hand it in. So you could speak now.
Oh,
and
okay.
You can hand
Thank
it
you.
afterwards. Yeah. Just
Thank you, ma'am. Let me get organized here. So, thanks for that comedy show. That was fun. The Supremacy Clause of the Constitution of the United States. Every law enforcement officer. Wow, I feel very unsafe. Now I feel very. Really?
Can we pause for time?
Bring it. Bring it, lady. Bring it, honey.
All right.
Okay, we'll start over here. Sorry about that, but it was part. Wow, disturbing language. So every law enforcement officer in the country, me included, for 29 years, the first thing we did was we took an oath to the Constitution. And there's something called the Supremacy Clause. So this ordinance will have no effect on federal law enforcement. So what you are doing is you are endangering our local law enforcement who need to wear masks in certain situations, who drive unmarked cars in certain situations. So I don't know why you need to endanger our local law enforcement when our sheriff's department is woefully short-staffed. Our Tucson Police Department is also short-staffed, and unfortunately, our Pima County Sheriff's Department is the laughingstock of the country, not thanks to our brave men and women in the Pima County Sheriff's Department, but thanks to our sheriff that probably most people in this room voted for. Harvard-Harris polling, which is considered to be nonpartisan, shows us that 56% of people want criminal illegal aliens removed from this country, and 56% want all illegal aliens removed from the country, and 78% want criminal illegal aliens removed from this country. Understand that the law allows for the removal of people in this country illegally without criminal warrants. And so as I listen to these speakers, I hope that you understand that you all here have a zero impact on federal law enforcement. Most people want ICE to continue to do their jobs. And again, by entertaining this abject silliness that we are seeing, this overly emotional nonsense, you are endangering our local law enforcement here in Pima County. So again, I hope that I see a proclamation, probably in May, celebrating our law enforcement in Pima County. And I hope that you all say no to this ordinance that will have zero enforceability here in Pima County. Thank you.
And with that, we will close the public hearing and open it up for discussion among the board. I will note, this was an item that our office had requested, that as reflected in our discussions, both of this back in early February and late February, I feel the urgency around addressing this issue, but I also feel the importance of getting it right. As has been noted, right, like we have a responsibility to uphold the Constitution and ensure the safety and those constitutional rights of our constituents. And all of the county, right? This ordinance, as written, serves to protect law enforcement officers and the community from the very real danger of imposters who are going forward as though they are law enforcement, right? And we have seen the dire consequences of that, right? The political killings in Minnesota were conducted by people who were dressed as law enforcement. Widespread reports of bad actors impersonating law enforcement and attempting traffic stops have been occurring across the country. And then we also, as the border region, have had periods of vigilantism along the border. What is missing from this draft, I think, is clear and distinct prohibition on the use of masks. While I appreciate the clarity that there should be identification, both of an identifying number and an agency, I think that the ordinance, as some speakers have shared, can go farther and should go farther and prohibit the use of masking. The power, right? The power of federal immigration officers right now is unfathomable, in the sense that U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents, people here on in asylum cases are being removed from this country. Mothers are being separated from their children. Grandmothers are being separated from their caring families. The power of those agents to do that, to have that kind of profound effect, is one in which accountability and rule of law and transparency should be applied to. We are experiencing generational trauma here in our community of people both witnessing and experiencing this sort of activity, and particularly done behind masks, in which those who are perpetrating it are unable to be held accountable. So with that, I will open it up for other discussion from my colleagues.
If I may.
Supervisor Hines.
Thank you, Chair Allen, and thank you for bringing this forward. I think it's incredibly important to look at this as an anti-impersonation and a safety ordinance. Masks frighten and divide our community, and for the safety of law enforcement as well as our residents, we really can't be allowing unidentified supposed law enforcement officers. That kind of behavior really erodes trust, the necessary trust that we must have in our local authorities. And also, as we heard from one of our speakers here, has an absolutely chilling effect on community reporting, especially crimes like sexual assault, domestic violence, things like this. So we really are safer as a community when our residents trust and communicate with our law enforcement. And I do have concerns with providing exemptions. I could dress up in a vest. I could put a mask on and goggles and a hood and put, Jennifer Allen on my vest, right? You won't know. Probably, I don't know. But anyway, I think that we can't have exemptions that allow for such a large, that doesn't help. And maybe there are operations, special ops, things like that we need to contemplate and look at. But I think it's important not to have massive exemptions that make it essentially not effective. And it's also important not to just say this is about federal. I mean, this should apply to all law enforcement. Period. I think that's really important to look at it that way too. I think so. I appreciate the work that's been done by District 3 and by our attorneys, and I do look forward to supporting the final version, which hopefully is a little bit stronger.
Supervisor Scott.
Thank you. It's follow up on some of the comments made by yourself and Supervisor Hines. I wanted to ask Mr. Brown if he could share with the board how the language in the draft ordinance was developed by our attorneys. Because I'll go back to something, Chair Allen, that you said at the beginning of the conversation, which is that it's important that we do this right. And so I'd like to get some input from Mr. Brown on behalf of the County Attorney's Office in terms of how some of the language that's been addressed during the hearing today, it was devised by you and your colleagues.
Thank you, Chair Allen, Supervisor Scott. A few things that have been mentioned by speakers and that I'll reiterate. These types of ordinances at local levels or at state levels are becoming more prevalent across the country. So we've been taking a look at what others are doing, number one. Number two, we've been following case law. This is a novel area of the law. There's a California state bill that's currently being challenged. So we've been meticulously following that case to try to project what may happen in the future. We are also very, very aware of the supremacy clause issues of some of the sort of balancing act of what the law allows, which, as I stated, is unknown because there's very little precedent in this area. The courts are still figuring these questions out. So in developing the language, we just try to balance supremacy clause issues, issues of local authority, what this board is authorized to do and not do, and what is the problem that this ordinance is seeking to address, which is at its base unidentified people, whether they be law enforcement or not, acting in law enforcement functions in our community.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. And Chair Allen, I would just ask that all of us keep in mind and take into consideration the processes and legal considerations that our attorneys are mindful of as they're drafting this ordinance before we consider any changes from the dais. I would ask that if we do that, prior to making any recommendations, that we ask our attorneys to consider their legal ramifications. Thank you, Chair Allen.
Well, Supervisor Christie.
Up in the state legislature, a representative by the name of Sandoval made a very similar proposal to what we're dealing with here today. And it was determined that the proposal she was forwarding would not have affected federal officers who are beyond state regulation. But she wanted to make sure the practice of masking does not spread to state and local officers. If we're trying to do this to ICE officers or impose this upon ICE officers, it's already announced in the state legislature that such a proposal would not affect federal officers. So that takes care of that issue. Again, the supremacy clause. The second thing I found that this ordinance, in its manner that it was proposed today, is really pretty slick, because from this point backwards, the whole idea was that it was so bad that ICE officers had masks on because you couldn't identify them, and that they were terrorizing people with these masks, and these masks were causing great consternation. Well, the whole emphasis has now been changed to prevent, and the argument is now to prevent imposters, and that there are the ability for imposters to pose themselves as law enforcement agents if they wear masks. I was noting that in our speakers, not one of them brought that up. Not one of them seemed concerned about that, because I think that's a full overblown straw man theory. The real basis and emphasis on this is what I believe is to reveal the officers so people, probably people in this room again, who can find out the individual officer's personal information, his or her family's information, and they can do what is known as doxing and terrorize and try to beat into submission with such terror these federal officers to prevent them from doing the job that they were hired to do, that the Congress has authorized. So this really is a very good twisting of the emphasis, because I challenge anyone on this board or in this administration to present an incident of verifiable proof where an imposter agent wearing a mask created any kind of a act of violence against anyone. I have yet to see that in any of the media, and I challenge, and if there's one out there, I'd like to see it. But I have yet to see where a masked agent or a masked individual posing as an agent has created an act of terror or violence. And this notion that the community doesn't want to come forward if there's a situation like a domestic violence or something of that nature, because they're afraid that they will be revealed as illegal aliens. There are anonymous tip lines. They don't have to give their name and address. There is ability to report incidents, and it's well known. Everybody knows of all the law enforcement available entities that you could call in anonymously, even get rewards sometimes, and nobody's identity is revealed. So the final thought is, if there is some way that this ordinance could be enforced or has any teeth, what is being suggested is that other local law enforcement agencies take up their firearms and go after ICE, and we have a battle of law enforcement agencies on Pima County property. That makes no sense at all. So I would close by asking the county attorney, Mr. Brown, what is your recommendation at this particular point with this ordinance?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, we've heard from the public, their public comments. So our recommendation would be to take the input, and if there's going to be a vote, to do so at the next meeting.
I'm sorry, take the input. Do we have to vote to take the input?
Vote on the ordinance at the next meeting after we've had a chance to digest some of the input.
And is there going to be more reformation of the ordinance or additions, amendments?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, it's very possible.
So I would like to move that the ordinance be revised, that feedback from the public, feedback from the board be incorporated into a final version that comes back to the board at our next meeting for a final vote.
Second. Madam Chair, discussion?
Supervisor, seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion, Supervisor Christie.
I would suggest that in order to be fully rounded in this whole issue, that there be some reference to protecting law enforcement officers from doxing. That needs to be addressed, because that's the reason why they're wearing masks.
Supervisor Kano.
Thank you, Chair Allen. It's almost been a year, but I'm still the new kid on the block. Can you tell me a bit more? I don't know if this is a question for Chair Allen, for Administrator Lesher, or for Mr. Brown. The motion that was just presented by my colleague from District 3, isn't that already what we usually have in process as part of the consideration? We're on step 2, right? And so were you asking Chair Allen for specific changes, or are you, does that, I just want to make sure we're providing our county attorney with the most ability to gather today's input and come back, and I'm not sure what the motion is germane to. In other words, Mr. Brown, aren't we already coming back with the revision based on today's ordinance?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Cano, it is helpful to have a motion from the board directing that occur rather than sort of us doing it at our own discretion. We've heard from most of the board members today. It would also be helpful to hear from each of your offices if you have input that you want to pass along to us to consider in addition with what's been provided by the public. We'd be happy to take that.
Thank you for that clarification, and I look forward to supporting your motion.
In my understanding is that we can vote on it today. That was an option. Or we could have it come back to us at our following meeting. So hence the motion to just clarify that I was suggesting that we not vote on it today, but that we let the feedback percolate its way into a revised version that come back to us at the next meeting. Was where I was going. Supervisor Scott.
Thank you, Chair Allen. What particular sections of the draft ordinance are we proposing for consideration for possible revisions? Because I share Supervisor Cano's concerns, and that I don't understand what we're voting on in terms of directing our attorneys.
Well, so my feedback is related to section 9.25.030 exemptions. I would like to eliminate section A that allows an exemption if the law enforcement agency is it allows an exemption if the name of the agency and a unique identifier is present, then a mask can be worn. I would like it to be that no mask be worn, and there is a unique identifier, and the name of the agency is visible. So that is in section A. That's my primary concern.
If I may, Chair Allen, I think doing that here, I think the idea is that incorporating everything that we've discussed today and incorporating public comment and coming back to us next time, as well as incorporating your concerns and mine as well, that we monitor what's going on in other jurisdictions and kind of frame things that way. That gives our attorneys the opportunity to pull all that together, and we don't have to kind of sort of do it right here at the dais. So I think that makes sense.
Can I ask Mr. Brown a point of clarification? Mr. Brown, if it was your opinion as our counsel, based on the legal ramifications of any amendments to the ordinance, that they might weaken or undermine the ordinance in any way, would you be recommending to the board that we not make any changes to the draft?
Chair Allen, Supervisor Scott. I guess I'll answer that by saying we created the draft that we thought was most defensible by law and carried out what appeared to be the desire of the chair for putting this item on. And there's nothing, as I sit here today, that would make me change my analysis of the draft that's in front of you now. However, the case in California right now is fast developing. Every time there's an order coming out in that case, it provides some insight into how courts may interpret laws and ordinances like this. So it's a rapidly evolving, ever-evolving analysis. But as I sit here today, I can't think of a reason to change our initial analysis and the initial language.
Okay. Given that input from our council, Chair Allen, I'm not going to be able to support this motion. I was in support of the language of the resolution that we passed. I am in support of our attorneys doing their work in terms of creating an ordinance for our consideration that is going to be legally defensible. And again, based on the input that I just heard from Mr. Brown, I supported the resolution. I intend to support the ordinance, but I can't support this motion.
Madam Chair?
Supervisor Christie.
I'm just suggesting perhaps maybe if your motion was withdrawn and we just asked for a continuance, this has not been notified to the public as a draft today. It's an actual ordinance. Perhaps we could just withdraw the motion to send it to the county attorney and just ask for a continuance for the county attorney to bring back his amendments based on the hearings today.
I
Do I
think
need to
you
make
were
a-
you were absolutely in sync with our clerk.
Do I need to make a motion? I move that this item be continued and brought back at the next meeting in March with any revisions that the county attorney has gleaned from this hearing today.
And
pardon me, Chair Allen, Supervisor Christie, could you add to your motion these words, that he deems legally defensible?
That you deem legally defensible.
And I will, let's see, I withdraw my motion.
I'll second Christie's.
Motion seconded by Supervisor Hines. All those in favor of, discussion? Supervisor Cano.
Thank you, Chair Allen. I especially want to thank the District 3 office for bringing this item to the board's consideration. As I've mentioned, I also look forward to supporting it in the interest of public safety. I do want to thank members of the public on both sides of the issue who came out to your local government to make your voice heard, to ensure that as we are navigating uncharted territories, that we are doing this in a manner that is transparent, that we are doing the public's work right here in front of you. And I look forward to the recommendations that come from our legal counsel. Jurisdictions are extremely paralyzed right now with the type of response that is needed. And what I know Pima County is doing is in the interest of protecting our neighbors. And that, to me, at the end of the day, is one of the most important parts of the entirety of this resolution as proposed, as the ordinance as proposed. And I commend my District 3 colleague for navigating this process with us.
All those in favor of the motion related to ordinance number 2026-2 to continue?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Passes 5-0. High level, where we are at in the meeting, we are going to knock out a few agenda items prior to breaking at 11:50, so that we can get over to the Pima Association of Governments office for our joint meeting with the city of Tucson. So moving on, we are going to go to item 14, approval of the consent agenda.
Chair Allen,
Supervisor Hines?
may I pull number 15?
Poll number 15?
Yes.
Madam Chair.
So item number 15 is polled. Supervisor Christie.
Please pull items 1, 2, 9, and 16.
1, 2, 9, and 16.
And I agree with 15.
From the consent. Okay. All right, so I make the motion for, I will move the consent calendar minus items 1, 2, 9, and 16.
Second.
Seconded by,
15 and 16.
15
oh,
and 16.
15 and 16.
1, 2, 9, 15, 16.
1, 2, 9, 15, and 16.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Consent passes 5-0. Do Supervisor Hines, I'm sorry, Supervisor Christie, a question, do we need to hear each of those items separately, or can we bundle those items together?
Let me just give a preemptive, I will be voting no on all of them.
I figured.
Chair Allen,
Supervisor Kano.
I'd like to move items number 1, 2, 16, and 19? 9.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor, no, I'm sorry, was it number 15 in there as well?
1, 2,
Oh,
9,
that was-
15, and 16.
1, 2, 9, 16 were moved by Supervisor Kano, seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion.
Christie.
Christie.
I can't even get a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
And so the items pass 4-1. Okay.
15.
Item 15 on the consent.
Thank you, Chair Allen. I just wanted to pull this, not to vote against it, but to thank the Garcia Family Foundation for providing $2 million over, was that 2 years? Actually, almost 3 years for Pima County Homelessness Prevention Hub. That's a huge 7-figure. I mean, this is a great example of public-private partnership and coming together to address a really complicated issue that is really affecting our community. So thank you again for this generosity to the Garcia Family Foundation. And I support this item.
Further
Which
discussion?
I will move the item, I guess. Right?
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Kano. Further discussion? Item 15 on the consent agenda. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion, item passes 4-1. Now we will move to item, let's see, we will consider 16, has a time certain at 3 o'clock, so we'll move to item 17. This is a selection of an ex officio member to the Downtown Tucson Partnership Board of Directors. Supervisor Kano.
Thank you, Chair Allen. I want to extend my gratitude to the District 2 office for their representation over the years via Kylie Walzak as the board's representative. In conversation with my colleague from District 2, I'd like to move that my Chief of Staff, Montserrat Caballero, continue in that role and look forward to switching year after year with the overlap between our districts.
And I will second that.
Item seconded by Supervisor Hines. Other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 18. Time. This is a request by the Pima County Merit Commission Law Enforcement Merit Council. I will move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 19, revisions to Board of Supervisors Policy number C 4.4, compromising taxes. I will move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Motion passes 4-1. I will move, unless anyone has any concerns with bundling items 20 and 21.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott.
These two items are similar to items of the same nature that we had on the last agenda. And at that meeting, I asked for input to the board from both the county administrator and the assessor or treasurer's office, whichever is most appropriate. I think it would be the assessor, in terms of how we are getting the notice that you're eligible for these relieves of taxes out to eligible applicants. Because as Supervisor Hines and certainly Supervisor Christie, who's been on the board the longest, will attest, we get these items on a regular basis. And so it calls into question, how well are we informing the public that certain entities, often religious organizations, are eligible for these exemptions? if we were doing a better job of making sure they're aware of them, perhaps we wouldn't have these items on our agendas so frequently. So I just would like to ask for some information to the board on how we're making people aware of their eligibility.
Okay. Further discussion?
We're back at the two of them?
Yes.
20 and 21.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion pass 5-0. All right, we are flipping ahead through the items to get to 25. It's the ones between where we are and there, require either presentation or executive session or more substantive conversation. So item 25, I move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No?
Motion passes 4-1. Item number 26, unfinished business, certificate of removal and abatement. I move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
No?
Motion passes 4-1. There are, moving to the addendum.
Chair Allen,
Oh, Supervisor Cano.
can we backtrack really quick?
Yes.
I lost track trying to do too many things at once.
Okay.
Did we approve item number 25?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
We just did 25, 26.
Got it. I will speak with the county administrator about item number 25 offline. Thank you.
Okay. So moving to addendum item number 6. This is a classification and compensation from the Human Resources Department to create a new classification. I will move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion. Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No?
Motion passes 4-1. Item number 7, trial court appointments. I will move the item.
Second, and if I may, Chair Allen, it's taken me like 5 years to do this, so I apologize. But this is the strangest process. Like, it used to be, like, each supervisor would just say, hey, here are the 2 people I want on the county's trial court nominating thing or whatever for the governor to do. Now it's, you need a 7-member committee that they have to meet and have minutes, and then, like, anyway, District 1 did this like in 2022, so. And we've had one position open since Dan Ekstrom was on the board for District 2. So, okay, all right. And one, just note, the appointment of Jim Closter, it's actually James Closter. So I just, for his, legal name is James Closter, just to make that adjustment. And yeah, thank you for your support.
Okay. Item was seconded by Supervisor Hines. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We have now made it through, I think, some of the quicker things. One thing I want to suggest, because we have 5 minutes left and I don't want to waste any time, is that we actually break to go into executive session prior to going to the joint meeting. We have one executive session item. I am told that it's fairly quick. Let's not eat those words.
And second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Credit due where credit due. Motion by Supervisor Christie. Sorry. Just try to move quick. All those in favor, all those opposed? I think it passed 5-0. We will break for executive session. And then, do we need to come back to break again? All right. Okay. We will do that then. Breaking for executive session. Move now to closing executive session and moving to agenda item 23, which is a settlement recommendation in post-acute development, v. Pima County. I will move the item as discussed in executive session, seconded by Supervisor Hines. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes 5-0. And with that, we are going to break again for, oh, yes, I did skip over that, didn't I? So, and to go back to item number 12, executive session, that was an information-only item. And now we will recess and we will reconvene at the Pima Association of Governments for a joint meeting with the City of Tucson. Just gonna